Welcome to Overtime Heroics. I'm Mason Shotwell, and joining me today is UFC athlete Miranda Maverick. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks.
Good stuff. Before we start, I just want to congratulate you on your recent win over Gillian Robertson at UFC 260.
Thank you very much.
How was you feeling going into that fight? Because obviously Gillian is she's a really good fighter. How was you feeling going into that bout?
I felt really good. Obviously, we had already set up the fight previous to that was supposed to happen. It got canceled because she got sick day of. So honestly, I went in the second time even more confident than the first. I figured I would have the mental edge on her as well since she'd already dropped out of the first one. And I knew I already had the physical edge as well. So it turned out exactly how I would have expected it to. She was a little bit heavier on top pressure on the ground than I expected her to be, and I made a few mistakes. But overall, it's just a learning experience and try to get better for the next one.
Well, Gillian's, I've seen she's a very good fighter on the ground as well, and so is yourself. But was you wary at all of going to the ground with her? Because it didn't seem like that as much in the fight because you were going for takedowns yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't wary of going to the ground with her at all. I wasn't scared of her submissions or anything. I'm pretty good at my jiu-jitsu myself, like you said. Like I said, I needed to defend a little bit during the fight, and I made some mistakes. But overall, I do think I was the better fighter and could have even done better on the ground than what I showed.
Was that the outcome that you expected, or was you expecting a finish throughout the fight?
I was hoping to get a TKO throughout the fight or a KO. I think there were a couple opportunities where I could have capitalized and went in and finished the fight, but I just didn't pull the trigger, or I just decided to play it safe and, give myself the distance I needed. Ended up going the distance, but I feel like it was a fairly dominant performance. But at the same time, I look at it as almost a loss. I don't think you have to lose to learn. And I made a lot of mistakes in that fight that I hope I won't carry forward in the next ones. It was not the best me showing out there. And next time I hope it will be.
Well, you've got another bout scheduled for July 24th, I believe, against Maycee Barber, who's another young up-and-coming athlete. How are you feeling about that fight?
I'm really excited about that one, actually. At first, I was not very happy to have Maycee as an opponent. I think that they could have waited on the matchmaking side to make that when we were higher up ranked. And I think it's a money fight almost. It's these two prospects, two young girls, and I think it would have been smart for them to wait to pit us against each other because of the more hype we would have gotten. But it's a great fight. I understand why the fans want it. I like it too. And she's very well-rounded. She's going to be one of the better girls that I've ever faced. So I'm really excited to see what happens.
How has this fight came about? Because it seems very quick to be booked after your recent fight, because I believe that was, just 2-3 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that it booked right afterwards. It gives you some motivation going into a month after that and allows me to kind of get my schedule in line as well. I think they're really eager to set up this fight because the fans were like, this is the fight to make, this is the fight to make, and posting all over Instagram what they expected the next matchup for me to be. Ended up being the case. I don't really have any other clue about it. I'm sure the matchmakers just decided it was a good fight to have. We were both free and not booked for something. And so they set it up better earlier than later.
How do you expect this fight to go? What do you think you can expect from Maycee?
I have a feeling neither one of us have been finished in a fight before, I don't think. And on top of that, we're both hard hitters. We both are going in there. I think she has pretty good fight IQ and she's well-rounded, but I feel like mine is even a little bit higher notch than that. So I wouldn't doubt if it goes to decision, but I'm looking for a finish always.
100%. How are you preparing for this? Is there anything that you're focusing on in Maycee's game in particular?
I won't say that there is not. If she's smart and she's doing like I am, she's watching all my interviews, and I'm going to be watching hers too. So I'm not going to give anything away on that field.
No doubt. I want to go back to your UFC debut. I believe it was July, wasn't it? In Abu Dhabi.
It was 24th of last year against Liana Jojua.
Yeah. How was you feeling going into that bout? Because obviously UFC debut. Did you have any nerves at all, or calm and collected?
Actually, I was very calm and collected. I was really excited. My weight cut went amazing. It's the healthiest I've ever been, even compared to the Gillian fight. The Gillian fight, I was a little bit sick and had a hard weight cut coming into it as a result. The Liana fight, I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. Went in there very confident. The only time I felt nerves was right after Bruce Buffer called my name. And for about the first 30 seconds of the fight, I had a rough time. But after that, I got my rhythm, got my timing, and got my mind right. and was able to finish. I actually executed that fight pretty much how I wanted it.
How did you feel at the end? Because obviously you beat her so bad that the doctor had to stop it because of a cut that she suffered during the fight. How did that feel?
Well, I wish I would have had my hands on her. I'll be honest. I wish it would have been in the middle of the fight while I was throwing the elbow or whatever it may be. Doctor stoppages always cause controversy. It doesn't matter how obvious and blatant that the stoppage should have been. Her fans are going to be mad about it, right? So just to be fair, I think I would have absolutely messed up her entire face had she went to the second round, because I would have just kept attacking the exact same way. She wasn't blocking. She wasn't learning from it or defending it. So I think it was a good stoppage, but I wish I would have had my hands on her so that controversy wasn't even the case.
I've not spoke about this with a fighter before, but I've seen you posted a message that you got from a hater on Instagram before, and I'm not going to repeat the message, but how do you feel proving these haters wrong time and time again?
It's fun, it's just extra motivation going into it, honestly. Some of them are so funny that I do post them. I don't even post the actual mean ones. I get some really bad ones. I get death threats. I get all kinds of stuff. And then you have the other side of it too, people that are sending you nudes, people that are sending weird, creepy messages. And it's just part of the sport. It's part of being, say, popular or in any kind of entertainment industry. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I've learned to just embrace it and go on and grow a thicker skin. But I think it is nice to kind of share just so other people can see they're not the only ones. I know that other fighters, women especially, get a lot of hate.
Well, I want to ask about. I know you're still in school studying for a degree. What degree are you studying in?
Industrial psychology. So I'm working on getting my PhD currently. Stayed up till about 2 last night working on homework, and I'll be doing the same thing probably for the next few weeks, because finals are coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Well, I know we've been trying to sort times out because of how busy you are, so we could do this interview. How do you balance both training, being a UFC fighter, and studying?
It's hard. I use a schedule. I have a big actual calendar stuck to my wall that is like a dry erase that I can write everything on, keep updates on my phone for these kind of things, and then just keep lists, stuff I have to do, and I prioritize the best I can, and make sure that training comes first. Sorry about that. Make sure training comes first and school as well. It's kind of a balanced out priority there, and then everything else kind of falls to the wayside. I can't, go hang out with friends or do this or do that because I'm busy.
Do you have any regret about that? Obviously, you're not, like you said, you're not able to enjoy life as much, like going out with friends, but do you think in the long run it'll be worth it, both obviously with your career in the sport of MMA and obviously you'll have your degree?
100%. It's already worth it. I'm achieving dreams that nobody my age or that I know is able to accomplish, and I'm getting these ends to a means completed. I'm actually already in the middle of getting those means established at the age of 23, and I couldn't have done it without being hardworking and having my mindset focused on it, and then of course just God helping me with that, having all these blessings and my family supporting me and other people supporting me. But if I didn't, skip that other stuff, I would just be mediocre. And, the whole saying, I don't like being mediocre. And it's fine that people are, but that's not how I'm made. I always need to stay busy. I always need to have a new goal ahead of me. So UFC was my goal, right? It was my dream. And now there's new dreams. I want to be top 15. Okay, now I've done that. Then I want to be top 10, top 5. I want to be world champion. And I just keep moving up the ladder and do the best I can in life and put the work to make that happen.
Well, I'm going to go back to your not your debut, but before that, obviously you fought in Invicta, and it seems a lot of the fighters from Invicta go on to be in the women's division of the UFC. How did your contract with the UFC come about?
I actually had several offers before I actually took the UFC contract. Yes, Invicta is pretty much, I wouldn't say a direct feeder to the UFC, but they definitely look to Invicta for a lot of their women. Since it's an all-women's division, they kind of are a highly touted organization, and I think they do a very good job. And I got a couple calls, especially after my tournament win that I had a couple years back. I got a couple calls to come in short notice, short-term fights, one-fight contracts. And I just waited until the right time to do it, because one fight contracts do not guarantee that you stay in the UFC. In fact, they usually do not. One fight contracts also represent that they expect you to lose and want you to lose, and you're trying to go against this hype fighter that they're trying to feed somebody to. Not that I thought I'd lose every bout, but I wanted to be wanted, if that makes sense. I wanted the UFC to want me in there. I didn't want me to be like, I guess we can take her because we don't have anybody else. And I think I finally worked my way up to that point. I won the tournament. I went against Pearl and beat her. And I think I showed where I was at within the division. And then COVID came along. I got a couple offers then. And finally, the right opportunity showed itself. I tried to fight and have my debut last June. That didn't end up happening. Instead, I had eye surgery. I think everything happens for a reason. And honestly, like, thank God they found that. I could be blind right now, and it was already a high chance that I'd go blind when I got the surgery. So that was also a blessing, you know, that they were able to not only catch that, but that I was able to have 2 successful surgeries on both eyes. So that was very intense, very depressing at the time. Didn't ever think I'd go back to fighting. And now we train smarter. I train smarter. I focus on safety and focus on technique more. And I think it's benefited me.
100%. I'm going to go back to the Maycee fight quickly. Say July 24th, you're victorious. What's next for Miranda Maverick?
I'm hoping a top 10 opponent. I want to still work my way up fairly slowly. I don't want to be just thrown into the fire for the title fight or anything like that. But I'm thinking a top 10 opponent, maybe another top 5 opponent, then another fight, and then maybe the title is what I'm thinking. But we'll see who they give me next. I keep saying I'd love that Antonina fight. I'd love a Caitlin Chookagian fight. I think Roxanne would be a good fight. I want to go against somebody in the division that's not like fresh and new to it. Like Cynthia, Alexa Grasso, we're all like young girls working our way up, and they complain about the flyweight division being stagnant and not having these other prospects, and yet they keep pitting the young girls against each other and kicking the prospects out of line, and I think it's silly. It's the same thing with me and Maycee. Like, why are you putting 2 of the young prospects against each other when we're not even close to the top yet? But it's part of it.
Well, just a couple more things from myself. Say for anyone that's wanting to be a UFC fighter or MMA altogether, if you could give someone advice, one piece, what would it be?
That's always hard for me, and I don't want to ever discourage anyone, but it's one of those things where you've got to decide how much you're willing to sacrifice to put into it. This isn't an easy sport. It's not a sport you can half-ass, and nobody's going to give you anything. You know, you've got to be at the training every day. It's all about consistency. It's all about hard work. It's not a magic pill to lose weight, you know, and it's not a magic, I know this move to win fights. You've got to be fairly well-rounded. You've got to be smart. And then there's the whole entertainment industry. You've got to know how to speak. You've got to be willing to go out there and interact with people and network and be able to be a long-term stay in this sport. And for men especially, there's a lot more competition out there, so it's just that much higher that you have to go. But it's one of those things that's not for everybody. And if you're not willing to put in that hard work, then find something else, to be honest, because it's hard to make a living in this sport.
100%. Is there any shout-out sponsors that you want to give a shout-out to before we end the interview?
Yeah, please. For one, go contact me on social media. It's at fearthemaverick_HOMT. That is my Instagram. You can also just look up my name. I'm pretty much the only one out there. In addition to that, like, all my sponsors are on my link tree. You can go click, get discount codes, get even, you know, not free stuff, but get a lot of discounts on stuff and be able to check out some really cool things. Most of my sponsors I heavily support. They're things that I literally use every day. My posts aren't bull crap. Like, I drink chocolate milk every day. I drink Northern Chill water every day. I eat the Victory beef all the time. You know, my meal prep companies I literally eat every day. Top Mount Apparel, I wear their clothing for all my no-gi practices. For Yo Tung gis, I wear them for gi practices. So all my sponsors I do really support. I do believe in their product. So go check them out. And some of them are local companies too, if you are local to Virginia or wherever they may be located. I have a lot that support me from Missouri, where I'm originally from too.
Perfect. Well, I want to say thank you for joining us today. I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, and best of luck come July 24th against Maycee Barber.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you.